Good day to you all. Welcome to Maths Global Learning Hub at Mr. T. In today's lesson, we are going to draw the graphs of A times sine x on the same set of x's. So we'll begin by completing the table values using our calculators. And if we do that, we are going to see that here, for the graph of y is equal to sine x, we are going to get 0. And then for 90 degrees, I'm going to get 1. For 180, I'm going to get 0. When I substitute 270 degrees, I'm going to get -1. And then 360, I'm going to get 0. Having done that, let us draw the graph. First of all, we plot the points. Let's be very careful here. 270 gives us -1, and then 360 gives us 0. And we can draw a graph and plot the points. Having drawn this graph here, let's move on to the next graph. Y is equal to 2 sine x. If I substitute here, I'm going to get 0. Here I'm going to get 2, here I'm going to get 0, here I'm going to get -2, and then the last one I'm going to get 0. Now let's go to the graph and let's draw the graph. I'm going to put 0 here, then at 90 I have 2, at 180 I have 0, at 270 I have -2, and then at 360 I have 0. I must join these points using freehand. And this is my graph of y is equal to sine 2x. Then I need to draw the last one. Y is equal to 3x. When I substitute, I'm going to get 0 here, I'm going to get 3, I'm going to get 0, I'm going to get -3, and then I'm going to get 0. Then I go to my graph, and then I plot these points. This one is 0, then I have 3 at 90, I have 0 at 180, I have -3 at 270, then at 360, I have 0. Then I join my points, again using freehand. And I have my graphs. And then I can label this graph here as y is equal to 3 sine x. And then this one here, it's y is equal to 2 sine x. And then this one here, it's y is equal to sine x. Having drawn my 3 graphs on the same set of axes, I now need to complete the table below. Remember, the first graph was y is equal to sine x, and the second graph is y is equal to 2 sine x, and the third graph was y is equal to 3 sine x. Number 1, we need the period, and the period for each graph is 360 degrees. So the period for each graph is 360 degrees. I want the maximum value for each graph. I can see that for the first one, it has got a maximum value of 1, and then the second one, it has got a maximum of 2, and then the graph of y is equal to 3 sine x has got a maximum of 3. I can also use my graph as well to find the minimum values. Always check The first one, the minimum is -1, and then the second one, the minimum is 2, and then the last one, the minimum value is -3. I can now use these values to write down the range for each graph. So for the first one, I'm going to write here y is an element from -1 to 1. And then the second one, I'm going to write y is an element from -2 to 2. And the last one, it's y is an element from -3 to 3. I can also use the inequality notation to represent the range. And this is what I get for the first one, then the second one, and then the last one. Then I can also calculate the amplitude using our formula. And if we calculate the amplitude here, we are going to see that the maximum value is 1 minus the minimum value divided by 2, and my answer here is going to be 1. And then for the second one, I'm going to get 2 is my maximum minus my minimum divided by 2, and my amplitude is going to be 2. And then when I move on to the last one, I'm going to see that my amplitude is going to be 3 minus 3 over 2, and the answer is going to be 3. If I look at my answers, I can make an observation or a deduction. The first equation was given as y is equal to sine x, and the coefficient of this trig function here is 1. So I can say, therefore, amplitude is equal to 1. But remember, the amplitude is always positive. If I go to the second one, y is equal to 2 sine x. I can also see that the coefficient is 2, and I can conclude that the amplitude is equal to a positive 2. The last one, y is equal to 3 sine x. The coefficient is 3, therefore the amplitude is equal to positive 3. In other words, we are saying the coefficient of sine x and the coefficient of 2 sine x and the coefficient of 3 sine x can give us the amplitude. But you have to be very careful in this regard if you are using this method. Amplitude is always positive.